We're back live at the Eye at the Potato Expo. Now here's what's coming up. At 3 o'clock, we're going to have the first Spud Nation Throwdown. This is going to be a live competition. We've got 3 chefs, one from 5-star restaurant, someone else who's the corporate chef from Simplot, someone else who's the director of culinary from McCain Foods. So join us. This is a hoot. And not only do the chefs create unbelievable innovations, but also, and here's the kick this year, we're actually blindfolding the judges when they taste. Now, obviously, when they score, the blindfolds come off, but we'll actually be bringing them the dishes, and we'll have people to help them, get the fork in the food so that they can taste and get all that sensory perception from these great dishes. So make sure you tune in at 3 for the first Throwdown. If you can't, make sure, or do both. Come to the second Throwdown at 4 o'clock, and then at 5:45 today, we'll be announcing who the finalists are, and then we've got the second competition tomorrow morning at 9:15 to see who will be the top Spud of 2018. Now, this is the 3rd year we've done it. Started out with food truck chefs, then last year we flew in innovation chefs from all over the world to compete, and this year these are our contestants, so please be sure to join us. In the meantime, let's get back to business, and I want to talk about technology. Than Hartsock is with us from John Deere. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, I'm fascinated by technology. I actually went to an engineering school, and I went in a whole different era, where you had key punch cards, and you would spend like a day doing key punch cards in a box about this big,
Yep.
And you would then leave them off at the computer center at night. You'd come back in the morning and you'd have a Snoopy calendar, and it was all X's and O's, and that was it. Technology has come a long way, needless to say. Most of us are familiar with technology, but tell us what's going on at John Deere and how we can have this smart technology give both better yields, better products, more efficiency. Give us the one-on-one on smart machines.
Yeah, sure. So you hit on the driver for technology. I want to start with that because it is about it's about profit at the farm level, right? So whether it's a yield increase, so a top line improvement, or whether it's a cost reduction, it's about becoming more efficient or more productive, and really it is through technology, through making machines smarter, and to be clear, machines including the implement, which often is what where the actions actually happen.
That's where it all falls down.
That's right. The technology embedded into these machines increasingly is making them ensure that the manager, the owner of the farm, can achieve the right outcome. So imagine a planter, if you will, that is smart enough to know, am I doing a good job or not? Or a combine that can say, hey, operator, you're going too fast, right? Slow down, we're having too many losses. Or, hey, there's extra capacity in this machine, speed up, go faster, get more done.
And all that's in real time, obviously.
That's right, and one of the things we're trying to do is provide more feedback in real time, to your point, to the operator in the cab through the in-cab visual display, an onboard computer essentially in that machine that gives that feedback, as well as, and this is where it gets really exciting, these machines are increasingly connected. So connected to the cloud via 3G, 4G modem. Yep. And now as a manager of a farm, you can log in through your smartphone, through your desktop computer, through your tablet, take a look into the operation, see how are things going. Are we hitting the metrics, the specifications that I want as a manager, as a decision manager in this operation? Do we need to make adjustments, corrections? Is the way that operator A or machine A is being used, is it set a certain way that we should share that with another operator so that he or she can become more productive?
And what about autonomous machines? So the manager just hits the button in the morning, and then 10 tractors and feeders and everything goes out on their merry way. How close are we to that?
Yeah, so it's a very frequent topic right now, not just at John Deere, but in the industry, and not just in our industry, obviously, but across industries with the investments that are being made in the automakers in autonomous equipment. Frankly, we at Deere have been in autonomous and had autonomous concepts and prototypes in the market for many, many years in unique or specific conditions. We then evolved to actually go from prototype to actual product over a decade ago, 2001, 2002, where we launched the first automatic steering systems on John Deere machines. And now our emphasis on our march from automating machines to autonomy, as you described, the next step is really, again, back to the implement, back where the action is. It's important to understand that we've got to know how well is that implement doing, how well is the job that's being done. And we have to add sensors and controls and intelligence at the implement level to make sure that if we are going to remove the operator, we want to make sure the job's being done right. So that's really where a lot of our focus is as we march towards autonomy, because clearly technology's pointed that way. But in the near term, you're going to see us make machines smarter and smarter, closed-loop control systems that basically make the machine so that it can ensure when you're going across the field and you've got a desired outcome, you want something to happen, whether it's a tillage pass, a planting pass, or a spraying pass, we want to make that machine smart enough to know the job's getting done.
So let's talk about when I order my smart machine from John Deere. So I would assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, that not every field is the same. So you've got people who are going out there, looking at the fields, whether it's moisture, depth of soil, depth of planting, whatever else, and then programming that specifically for my operation.
That's right. Yeah, and so what you're getting at is there's not a cookie cutter, if you will, approach to farming, and having grown up on a grain farm that's still commercially viable and active in Southern Ohio, I've got a lot of experience in how much variability there is in crop production and how much knowledge the farmer brings to the production of the crop. So our approach is going to be to give the farmer, the operator, the tools to be able to manage the infield variability more efficiently, more effectively, with more scale. So for example, as we start to add more and more sensing capability to machines and implements, the farmer can say, if you see this condition, machine, then do this. And so it kind of gets back to your punch card a little bit, that you were talking about when we opened up, but it's that approach to basically take those heuristics, those rules of thumb, and start to automate those, again, as we move ultimately towards the autonomous smart machine.
So let's talk about climate change for a moment. If we look at the past couple of years, and I live in California, certainly between the drought, between fires and everything else, a lot of conditions change. What are you hearing from farmers about the climate issue, and what can John Deere do in the future to help with these kinds of issues, or maybe you're doing it now?
Yeah, well, the reality is around environmental stewardship. Farmers are the best environmental stewards, right? That in many cases they own the land that they farm. It's been passed on from generation to generation. Even if they don't own the land, even if they're renting the land in some contractual agreement,
they want to make sure.
That's how they make their livelihood, as you said. And so taking care of that it's innate. Where we see technology complementing that is back to the core value proposition of making machines smarter. In our example or our discussion is if the machine's smarter and it can be more specific and more precise in how it applies nutrients, how it applies pesticides, then that outcome is economically better for the farm, and it's also measurably better for the environment as well. And so you ask what we can do, what we at Deere do, we focus on solutions that meet those criteria.
And I'm also assuming that every setting in the smart machine is different based on the kind of crop.
Yeah, so, and that leads into technology, an emerging technology, again, across industries, but one we've recently invested in through an acquisition is artificial intelligence, and a field within artificial intelligence known as machine learning. And so the way machine learning and artificial intelligence work in the agriculture mindset is we can start to train our machines, these smart machines, we can train by saying, for example, the first application will likely be in smart spraying. We can train it and say, that's a weed, but that's a good plant or a crop. So that's a cotton plant, and that's a pigweed. That's a pigweed, and that's a cotton plant. We feed the machine the training data. It then builds an algorithm that we can take to the field in the machine, and to your point, as the conditions vary across the landscape, that machine can, on the fly, apply the knowledge that it's learned through the machine learning approach and make the right decision instantaneously, real time, on the go, plant by plant.
which is fabulous, which is fascinating. And I'm imagining that today we see farmers from their 20s, age 20 to age 80. And talk to me a little bit about when you go in and you say, okay, we can do all these great things. I'm imagining that the 20-year-old is there saying, yeah, just make sure you connect it to my iPhone, and that, you know, the machine talks to my iPhone and sings me a tune. And the 80-year-old is there saying, wait a minute, I've done it this way forever. Why should I go the smart machine route?
Yeah, I would maybe challenge the, first of all, kind of your hypothesis, if you will, and I can tell you that we see technology adoption across the board.
Oh, that's great.
Personal example, my dad is 70 years old, still farms, like I said earlier, on a commercial scale with his brother, my uncle, and they're constantly reaching out to me with ideas for how we can apply the technology you and I have been discussing to the machine. So I think it gets back to, if a technology generates value, tangible return, use it, and you're more profitable, then the farmers are they come to us and ask for it. Now, the second point that you're hitting on, though, is it has to be easy to use. And again, ease of use is all about, can I walk up, do I have to read an operator's manual, an owner's manual, or can I walk up and make this application work for me? That's where we've got a good amount of focus. Quite interestingly, several years ago, we really started to focus on the user's experience. We hired a human factors PhD that's built a team around how does the brain interact as you're operating with our technology, and how do we make that easier so you can pick it up and use it.
That's fabulous. Makes me want to go out and get a farm just so I can use this technology.
There's a lot of agriculture in California, so you said you live there. We can get you on a machine.
Okay, well, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more live from the Eye at the Potato Expo 2018 in Orlando, Florida.